Welcome to Information Literacy and Guided Inquiry, a presentation by Amber Jacks. What is information literacy? It is the ability to use and access information via electronic means and has been added as a core in defining literacy altogether. According to the American Library Association, it's a set of abilities requiring individuals to recognize when information is needed and have the ability to locate, evaluate, and effectively use. Who is affected by information literacy or illiteracy? That's anyone. While this presentation focuses on students and how children can improve, this also affects adult learners. When has this become an issue? Now. This is all around us. This is part of the information age. Where? In school, in home, in work. This literacy is a complete necessity as we move forward into the digital age. Why? Because we're not going backwards. We are digital now, and we will only get more so in the future. If we are going to stay current, regardless of the next form of communication, we must be literate now. Welcome to Guided Inquiry. Guided inquiry is an approach to learning where students find and use a variety of sources and information and ideas to increase their understanding of a problem, a topic, or an issue. This is no longer just textbooks in a classroom, but it is the world around us all. It's very similar to the KWL framework, which is know, want to know, and learned that was developed by Ogle. I'd like to take a moment to introduce you to the 6 stages of guided inquiry and explain to you how it works. If I may, here are the 6 principles of guided inquiry. Number 1, children learn by being actively engaged in and reflecting on an experience. 2, that children learn by building on what they already know. They bring their experiences with them to the classroom. 3, children develop a higher order thinking through guidance at critical points in the learning process. 4, children have different ways and modes of learning. We are all unique. 5, children learn through social interactions with others. Let's take a moment and meet the guided inquiry team. Up to this point, in a classroom, it's been traditional student and teacher, and that is the only relationship. This idea is that 3-person teams are more ideal. Originally, that started with a teacher and a librarian and a child, but it doesn't have to be. There are roles, there are trusted positions that could certainly be used and be interactive. You could use a teacher, a librarian, and perhaps a secondary teacher, someone in a completely different specialty or discipline. Let's say a history teacher, the librarian, and an art teacher, for example. The whole idea of team teaching is that it brings more dynamic energy to the teaching environment. Rather than leave the responsibility of all of the classroom instruction to one teacher, it brings a completely different angle or viewpoint to have a different teacher. In the time period in which I grew up, we changed classes. That's a little difficult, and I don't think it's a very popular mode of education at present, but I had the benefit of having, while only a teacher-student relationship, I had different student-teacher relationships. Finally, it creates a safe space, a space where a student feels that they can create. It invites creative thought, safety, and even inspiration. because information literacy is fairly new to introduce because we haven't always had a digital age and we haven't always had a need to be literate in this area, we do have standards that have developed from the AASL and the AECT in 1998 so that there would be some uniform guidelines and expectations for what a student literate in information could provide. These are their requirements. Number 1, the student who is information literate accesses information efficiently and effectively. Number 2, the student who is information literate evaluates information critically and competently. 3, the student who is information literate uses information accurately and creatively. There are 2 others which are lesser stressed that focus on independent learning and social responsibility. However, I think it's very key to see that as we move forward in the digital age, there has to be an acquiescence to information literacy. We have to not only know this and practice this, but we have to comprehend this, all of us. And this is where guided inquiry can help. Within guided inquiry, the concept's approach to information literacy revolves around 3 things: locating, evaluating, and using. And the what that follows that is information. A child today and an adult today is required to accurately locate information, evaluate it for its validity, and use it competently. This is what we speak about when we talk about information literacy. And this is how, again, guided inquiry can help. Within guided inquiry, it gives the impression that students are left to be self-paced, therefore self-taught, with no guidelines along the way. It's guided inquiry for a reason. At critical points along the way, there will be assessment. It's just not an assessment that traditional learning is familiar with. The difference between assessment and evaluation is assessment is formative and it is progressive with the student, where evaluation is summation and gives you a summary, like a report card, for how well you've done in an entire unit. The key in guided inquiry is that there are a variety of methods for assessing a student's progress. It's not just a test. Standardized test, chapter test, any kind of test doesn't always tell you the exact progress of a student. You can observe, you can watch their performance, you may have conferences, they can create portfolios or journals, there are rubrics, and yes, there are tests, but they are blended in a variety of other methods. And if necessary, then a type of intervention is applied. It's interchanged with instruction. There's no force to the student. There's no negative connotation to intervention. They are just guided in an area that they need assistance with, and a strength is recognized when they have mastered an area within this same unit. When a person doesn't understand what information literacy means, and when a person doesn't understand what guided inquiry means or what it can do to help, the first question that comes to mind is, well, how can I even help when I don't even know what this is? The best way to help a child who is trying to become more information literate, or an adult in the same circumstance, the best way that you can help is be involved. Encourage them. Help them. Be a part of the progress. Support the guided inquiry team if one is in place. If it's a teacher and a librarian and a specialty teacher, support their plan for the child that is being encouraged to develop and grow. If it's an adult learner, do the same thing. Be the support structure. Be the outside resource that that person, young or old, brings to the classroom as part of the experience that they're participating in. Encouragement. It's the best thing that you could possibly do. Be a part of the plan, not part of the problem. Everyone is facing literacy of some sort in the information age. Be proactive. This concludes my presentation on information literacy and guided inquiry. Thank you so much for your time and attention to this ever-going, ever-strengthening issue.